In Canada, November 11th holds a special place in our hearts and minds. It is a day that transcends generations, a day where the past and present converge in a solemn tribute. It's a day of solemn reflection, a day to honor the courage and sacrifice of those who served our country in times of war. From the trenches of World War I to the deserts of Afghanistan, Canadian soldiers have stood bravely in the face of adversity. This day, known as Remembrance Day, is a poignant reminder of the human cost of conflict. The red poppies that bloom in fields across the country serve as a symbol of the bloodshed and the lives lost. It is a call for peace, a plea to learn from the tragedies of the past. The ceremonies and moments of silence are not just for mourning, but also for a collective hope for a more peaceful future. On this day, we wear the red poppy, a symbol of remembrance, and pause to reflect on the sacrifices made in the name of freedom. The simple act of pinning a poppy to our lapels connects us to a shared history and a collective memory. Remembrance Day is more than just a holiday in Canada. It is woven into the fabric of our national identity. It is a day that unites us, regardless of our backgrounds, in a common purpose of honoring those who have served. It is a day for veterans and their families, a day to remember those who never returned home. The stories of bravery and sacrifice are passed down through generations, ensuring that the legacy of our heroes lives on. It is also a day for all Canadians to come together, to reflect on the importance of peace, and to strive for a future free from the horrors of war. Schools, communities, and families all play a part in keeping the memory alive and educating the young about the significance of this day. As we gather at cenotaphs across the country, we are reminded of the fragility of peace and the importance of safeguarding it for generations to come. The inscriptions on these monuments tell stories of valor and loss, urging us to cherish the peace we have and to work tirelessly to maintain it. The roots of Remembrance Day can be traced back to the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. This moment in history is etched in the collective memory of nations around the world. This marked the end of the First World War, a conflict that had engulfed the globe in violence for over 4 years. The war had seen unprecedented levels of destruction and loss, with battles fought in trenches, on land, at sea, and in the air. The Armistice Agreement, signed in a railway carriage in Compiègne, France, brought an end to the fighting on the Western Front. This agreement was a significant milestone, symbolizing the cessation of hostilities and the beginning of a long road to peace. The guns fell silent, and a wave of relief washed over a war-torn world. Soldiers who had endured the horrors of battle could finally lay down their arms and begin the process of healing and rebuilding. The First World War left an indelible mark on Canada. The nation had sent over 600,000 men and women to serve, and their contributions were both heroic and tragic. Over 60,000 Canadian soldiers were killed, and countless others were wounded physically and emotionally. The scars of war were not just on the battlefield, but also in the hearts and minds of those who survived. The war touched the lives of every Canadian, leaving behind grieving families and a profound sense of loss. Communities across the country mourned the loss of their sons, brothers, fathers, and friends. The Armistice of 1918 marked the end of the fighting, but it did not erase the pain and sacrifice of the war years. The memories of those who served and those who were lost became a part of the national consciousness. It was in the shadow of this immense loss that the tradition of Remembrance Day was born. Each year, on November 11th, Canadians and people around the world pause to remember and honor the sacrifices made during the First World War and in all conflicts since. The poppy, a symbol of remembrance, serves as a poignant reminder of the cost of war and the enduring hope for peace. In 1931, a significant shift occurred in the way Canada commemorated November 11th. The name of the day was officially changed from Armistice Day to Remembrance Day. This change reflected a broader understanding of the day's true significance. It was no longer just about marking the end of the First World War, but about honoring the sacrifices of all Canadians who had served in times of war. The shift from Armistice Day to Remembrance Day was a testament to the growing recognition of the sacrifices made by Canadian soldiers. It acknowledged that the horrors of war extended beyond the battlefields of Europe. It paid tribute to the countless individuals who had served their country, both at home and abroad, in defense of freedom and democracy. This change reflected a maturing nation, one that understood the importance of remembering its past, both the triumphs and the tragedies. No symbol is more synonymous with Remembrance Day than the red poppy. This small, yet striking flower has come to represent the immense sacrifices made by countless soldiers throughout history. This simple flower, which grew abundantly in the battlefields of Flanders during the First World War, has become a poignant reminder of the sacrifices made by those who served. The sight of these resilient flowers growing amidst the devastation of war-torn fields left a lasting impression on those who witnessed it. The poppy's connection to Remembrance Day is deeply rooted in the poem In Flanders Fields by Canadian physician and Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae. His words immortalize the flower as a symbol of both loss and hope. McCrae wrote the poem in 1915 after witnessing the death of his friend and fellow soldier Alexis Helmer during the Second Battle of Ypres. The loss deeply affected McCrae, and he channeled his grief into the now famous verses. Inspired by the sight of poppies blooming amidst the destruction, McCrae's poem captured the sorrow and sacrifice of war, painting a vivid picture of the battlefield's stark contrast between life and death, while also expressing a message of hope and resilience. The poppies, standing tall despite the chaos around them, became a metaphor for the enduring spirit of those who fought. The poem quickly gained international recognition, resonating with people across the globe who had experienced the horrors of war. Its powerful imagery and emotional depth struck a chord with many, and the poppy, with its vibrant red color symbolizing the blood spilled in war, became a powerful emblem of remembrance. The flower's simplicity and beauty made it an ideal symbol to honor those who had given their lives. Today, the wearing of a poppy on Remembrance Day is a visible reminder of the sacrifices made by those who served. It serves as a collective act of remembrance, uniting people in their shared history and respect for the fallen, and a call to strive for a more peaceful future. The red poppy not only honors the past, but also inspires us to work towards a world where such sacrifices are no longer necessary. It is a symbol of both remembrance and hope, urging us to remember the cost of war and to cherish the peace we have.